Hello, ladies and gentlemen, I am the Grand Cat. It's time for the Grand Cat's Christmas countdown of 2022. The top 25 wrestlers, or the top 25 favourite wrestlers of the Grand Cat. And today we are on number 6. Yes, we are almost approaching that top 5 mark, and number 6 is going to be, it begins with a C. I'll let you take a little time to guess. It is the Ayatollah of rock and roller. It is the Demogod. It is Chris Jericho. And do you know what happens when you don't put Chris Jericho on your list? Do you know what happens when you don't put Chris Jericho on the list? You get it. Yes, that's right. The man who has 1,001 different holds and 1,001 different catchphrases. One of the best of all time. And I mean, the guy who has been, basically in every major company, ECW, WCW, WWE, AEW. I mean, I don't think he was ever an Impact, but yeah. But I mean, the guy has had feuds with all of the major stars, basically in history. Maybe not Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant was a bit before Chris Jericho's time, but I mean, the guy is like the living legend. He is arguably like the most profound wrestler of all time at this point. He was the first ever undisputed champion of WWE, winning both the WCW and WWE belts. What else? He's done everything, I think he's literally won every title. He was the first ever AEW champion. I think he's done everything. Has he maybe not won the TNT title? That's about it. He's won the Intercontinental European. He hasn't won the 24/7 title, or maybe he did. I don't think he did though. But going from the Lion Tamer Chris Jericho, especially when he did his return, where he came back and just refused to speak, and people didn't know if he was a heel or a face. The Festival of Friendship that he had with Kevin Owens, a little bit of the bubbly, with AEW, even stuff like his what was the match he had with Orange Cassidy, the Minnesota or whatever it's called, where they had the the orange drink, and the loser was thrown into it. And everything he does, he's just so entertaining. He can make you hate him as a heel. He can make you love him as a face. He can be the funniest person. He can be the most serious. He's the head of Fozzy, the leader of Fozzy, the lead singer of Fozzy. I don't know what you want to call it. He's got his own podcast. The guy does everything. And is there anyone that is more prolific than Chris Jericho? Is there anyone that has had as long a career and has still kept themselves relevant after all this time? And in WCW, he could have easily been world champion, and they just didn't want to give it to someone that was a smaller guy, quotation marks. He went to WWE and basically gave WCW the middle finger, because he just showed them. He's like, look, this is what you let go of. And he really is one of the best of all time, and I don't think there's very much denying that. I don't think there's any way that you possibly can. Chris Jericho is just one of the best ever. And, he's still going, and he's still going strong. He's got the Jericho Appreciation Society. He had the Inner Circle before that. I think Vince was kind of overlooking what he had when he had Jericho. And, he had Jericho be the sidekick to Kevin Owens when Kevin Owens was the Universal Champion. But, I don't think there's any denying that Chris Jericho is one of the guys in all of professional wrestling, all of sports entertainment. And I mean, even currently, he is right now the Ring of Honor champion, and parading that around, and not just being just a heel and just cheating to keep it. I mean, he had that match at All Gear where he was in the Fatal 4-Way, and I mean, sure, the ending was a little bit botched where Claudio Castagnoli, who was Antonio Cesaro, or Cesaro, if you don't know, Antonio was his first name in WWE, was doing the big swing to Sammy Guevara, and Jericho unleashed the first ever diving Judas effect, which is the reverse elbow, and it didn't work very well, and then he stood him back up, and then he did, a proper version of the Judas effect for the finish, which I think that was a better idea to have, a proper conclusive finish. And also, I mean, that Judas effect, it's so well protected. It's so, I mean, like, once it comes out, that's it. That's the match finished. Like, there's no getting up from it or anything. It's such a strong move for what is essentially just a running back elbow, and Jericho has perfected it to amazement. I mean, even still, he can still do the line salt, off the ropes. He's still athletic enough to do that. He's technical. He can still do like the walls of Jericho. Everything. I mean, there's not a single thing that you could say, hey, Jericho, could you do this? And Jericho would turn around and say, no, I can't. I mean, I'm pretty sure that he's just all-arounder, like one of the best guys in all of wrestling. And I mean, when he first debuted back in 1999 against The Rock, I mean, I was an immediate Jerichoholic. One of the originals. I didn't watch WCW, but the second that he came to WWF, I was hooked on Chris Jericho, and he's always just been like one of the main event guys. So, and I mean, so many catchphrases, and if you want to see just how great Jericho is, look up his promo where he talks about doing 1,001 holds where he's in the feud with Dean Malenko in WCW, because it's one of the funniest gimmicks where like they go to commercial and they come back and he's still reading out his list, and they're like, oh my god, is this guy still here? It's amazing. Arm bar, arm drag, arm lock, arm bar. And he just starts like naming off some ridiculous moves as well. But yes. But yeah, right, okay, so what are Jericho's amazing matches? He had a really, really good one in, I think it was his first year in the company, when it was a triple threat match. It was Chris Jericho against Kurt Angle and, unfortunately, Chris Benoit. And Kurt Angle was going in as both European and Intercontinental Championship. Intercontinental Champion, not Championship. And the first win would get the European title, and the second win would get the Intercontinental title. And both Jericho beat Benoit, and Benoit beat Jericho without Kurt Angle being involved, and they both walked away with both of Kurt Angle's belts without him losing a single belt. And it is fantastic. But I mean, he's had other ones. If you want to see Jericho doing his best heel work, go and watch the pay-per-view where he wins the Undisputed title for the first time, when he beats both The Rock and Stone Cold in the same night, which is a huge accolade for him. Or if you want to see some of his more modern stuff, look up just the Fatal 4-Way for the Ring of Honor title that he had, or even just watch when Jericho won the AEW Championship for the first time, because he's so good all the way, all the time. He's so good. And I mean, even his podcast is fantastic. I mean, especially if you love Omaha Steaks. Yes, Omaha Steaks. You can get your Omaha Steaks from the omahasteaks.com. And oh my god, yes. This is one part that's not very fantastic. If you ever watch his podcast, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's particularly the podcast where John Moxley was first on his show. But there we are. So tomorrow we are into the top 5. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, only 5 left to go in the top 5, and I'm sure some of you will have some ideas of who you think might be in that top 5, but some of them might surprise you. So if you want to see who they are, give me a like, share, and subscribe, and if you are subscribed, click that notification icon so you can see when more of these videos go up. And let me know who you would have in your top 10 list. Let me know who you'd have in your top 25 list. And let me know where Jericho would place on that, because I'm very interested in all of that. But that's going to be it for this video, folks. I really hope you all enjoyed, and we'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.